Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Brews and Business Podcast. I'm your host, Braden Cruz. I've got Abel and Chance here with me. And today's episode, we have an exciting guest. And before I introduce them to you, I want to let you know that we have some new merch. We have some pretty cool stickers. They fit perfectly on the back of a phone, on a laptop, and an iPad, things like that. So if you want to support the podcast, you want to be able to start those conversations. The stickers are a great way to do it. It's really cheap. And then we've got some really cool notebooks, some pint glasses, some canned glasses, some new t-shirts. Flex on them, Chance. Here we go. Just another beer. It's such a cheesy saying.
I know, right?
But I like it's whatever. It's fine for now.
Hey,
It's
I'm
the
cool
best
with
thing we have rolling.
Hey, the
for
shirt's
now.
comfortable.
I mean, it's taken me a long time to build this, so yeah, I'm happy with it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
He's
Good.
like, yeah, I'll take a medium.
Yeah, why not?
A
Yeah, right.
medium.
He's like, will you fit a large?
take
I was
a
like, I need an extra large, but yeah, I'll take a large.
Yeah.
That's all we got today.
I can order some more.
I would like an extra
So we'll
large.
put that. I'll
Yes,
put that on the
please.
to-do list.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
And you need one too.
Yeah.
Well, you'll fit
Well,
into
I have-
his large.
Right.
You want the
you have one?
hand-me-downs?
Bro, absolutely.
You want the
I don't care.
hand-me-down?
Absolutely.
Shh. You want it washed or not washed?
Dude, I don't care. My wife will probably wash it before I wear it anyways.
He's like, just a little bit of stink, and I'll take it how it is.
All
right, enough of that,
I'm just
enough
gonna
of
throw it in the dirty clothes. Either way.
So I've got Cylas Brooks here, Bison Bins, real estate investor. You do some remodeling stuff.
Yeah.
Man, kind of tell me what's going on. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, man. My name's Cylas Brooks. I'm from the Tulsa area. We live in Bixby right now, but grew up in Bartlesville, so always been around the Tulsa area. And yeah, a lot of residential real estate, like just retail, buyers and sellers, things like that. Started flipping houses a few years ago, had some rentals, and then most recent thing is purchasing a roll-off dumpster company called Bison Bins. So we've been
Nice.
super busy. Got two young kids, got a 2.5-year-old and a 7-month-old.
Congratulations.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and a lovely wife.
Congrats.
Fit right in here.
Yeah, it's craziness. It's a whirlwind of stuff right now, honestly.
So, I have 3 kids, and Abel
Yeah.
has 3.
Okay.
And Chance is sometime soon. We don't know
I
when.
have 0 right now, but
He's
I've,
0.
I've been married for 5 years now. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right around the
And
corner.
You're about due.
Honestly,
Devin?
yes. Yeah, and with everything in life happening, everything's kind of lining up to where, yeah, maybe soon.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Think
And Devin's
pretty
got 2, 6 months old?
2
3
months.
months?
6 months.
I would say 6 months.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he's got twins.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
jeez.
Yeah,
Disney's
right?
Crazy.
No lie. I'm so jealous.
My wife's a twin.
I'm so jealous.
She keeps saying like, "Oh, please have twins." I'm like, "Don't wish that on us." Like,
Dude, why not?
dude, at 2 already, how are you gonna throw 2 more?
That's just 4.
It's the same thing. I promise you, it'd be the same thing
lies.
as-
I don't even believe. I would
Oh,
never believe
I don't
that
believe
at
that.
all. You telling me right now each of us can have 1 kid, but with twins, we each have a kid in each hand.
No, you don't.
I got 2.
You put the other one down.
Nah.
I mean, dude,
You're not
it's all-
tricking me. Yeah? Have you been talking to my wife? Have you been talking to my wife?
You're a plant, ain't you? You're a plant.
I know this is an industry plant right
Yeah.
here.
No,
Able with
listen.
Arc Outdoors.
Who are you?
Listen, I have 3 girls, and they're 6, 4, and 2. And
Okay,
man,
so you've forgotten. That's what the deal is.
that's-
He's too
You're a
far
little
out. He
out of
doesn't even
practice.
recall what it's like.
No,
Yeah.
listen, but realistically, it's like, man, after that second one, like my oldest daughter, right now, my 2-year-old is like, hey, can I help you? No, I want Remy. I'm like, well, your sister does not need to be your mom. Why I want Remy to dress me? So it kind of gets easier. It's like, it's not bad. Like, you just had a couple more. It's like, no,
Straight
dude.
plant. Straight plant.
No.
Okay, so real bit. We're back on track. So,
Sorry.
Why don't,
Cylas
you have, why don't
Brooks.
you have your 4th one on the way then?
Man, okay, good question. Good question. You're right.
So,
You're
yeah,
right.
so you own Bison Bins
Yes.
now. That's new.
Just recently, yeah, 6 months ago
Awesome,
we purchased. So,
We're gonna
And
talk
you've been in
about
real
that.
estate how long?
man, dude, it's crazy. I just looked back. I got my real estate license the first time in 2015, right after I got out of nursing school.
9
Oh,
years.
wow.
So
Yeah.
next year's a big deal.
Yeah. And I forgot because I started. It didn't really work out at first. Did some other stuff and then came back to it. So I saw this like ticket the other day. I was like, dang, I'm almost 10 years of like being interested, having my license, stuff
dream.
like that. Yeah,
I get that because
That's
I
awesome.
I got my insurance license
Nice.
last November.
That's
so
cool.
yeah, I get it, bro.
Yeah. Just 1/10 of the way there.
Trying to get there, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I only got 9
Yep.
more years to go.
So started that, and that just loved. I've just always loved real estate, and then just kind of kept snowballing into just learning more about it. For some reason, I just always had this desire to like own rentals at some point in life. I think that was just like in my head, always like stability like would come from that. So kind of transitioned into that, which just led into flipping, which eventually led me to meet the previous owner of Bison Bins and use them all the time for my flips. And then that led to the purchase of it.
The acquisition.
So,
Heck yeah.
that's
I,
it.
I want to know how did the acquisition process work?
Yeah. I mean, it was.
How did you negotiate that? How'd that start?
Yeah.
Kind of walk me through.
Yeah.
like-
So, I mean, I've been listening to like Alex Mosey, Cody Sanchez,
Right.
and these people like on YouTube for a couple years now. I've always had like, I feel like an entrepreneurial spirit. And then real estate was just like the outlet for me. Like I said,
Right.
I was a like trauma nurse before, and I really just wanted some type of like business, like my hand in some type of business. So that led to kind of real estate. So after a couple of years of like, looking into that, I look at all these industries. I'm like, what could I buy? What kind of business could I buy? Well, I know so many people that almost every industry I had interest in, like someone I knew had a business already in that. And like, I'm really huge on like just working together, like growing together, using people you know and like. And so I'm like, man, I don't really want to compete with like any of my friends, you
Right.
know? So
Something different.
yeah, exactly. So I didn't know what that was. I had a couple criteria I wanted. I wanted something that was like low liability, low complexity, and adjacent to real estate, so that all the things that I kind of knew already, like it kind of transferred, and the people I knew. So I just posted online one day, like, hey, if anyone out there is like thinking about selling a business, I'm interested. I want to get into this side of things. And then a couple people messaged me, and then the previous owner actually like shot me a message personally, and he's like, hey, dude, I'm thinking about selling this. Like, someone's interested right now, but I can let you know if that doesn't like work out. I'm like, yeah, I bet, let's do it. So a little bit later on, that person decided they didn't want to kind of, purchase, and that kind of led me down the path of, he had a price that seemed fair to me, and took it to a bank, Triad Bank, got an SBA loan on it, and from there, like it was about probably a 60-day process. And I tell people it's like very similar to like purchasing a home. I mean, it's a really similar process to that. Like maybe a little bit more digging into like, does this business by itself make sense? Whereas like on you, they're just like, are you a trusted, dependable person?
Right.
Can I
Right.
trust you to repay this? This is like, I need that, but I also need to know that this is like legitimate, like route of making money too. So yeah, about 60 days. And then, from there, went to closing. And
Did you hire the previous owner for any time after purchasing that? Or did you pretty much like, hey, it's mine, and you just took over immediately?
yeah, I mean, the good things were like really good friends. Like
Right.
I know them, so it's like I can still call them and like ask questions
makes
and stuff
sense.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And there was a gentleman that drives and has driven for the company for I think a couple years now.
Might have met him.
Incredible. You met him?
I think I might
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
Yeah.
And just really incredible at what he does. Very knowledgeable on trucks and equipment and stuff like that. So I mean, obviously, like coming into that, I know nothing about that space. Like I'm like, okay, do I hook this up? What do I hit? What's this button? Like, don't touch that button.
Right.
So
Right. Don't touch the yellow one.
I've had to rely a lot on them and like
Press the
just
red button, Jay.
Yeah.
Men in Black.
Yes,
Good,
exactly.
he got it.
And so, I had to like kind of swallow my pride and just learn like all the time and realize that you're coming into something that like the person there like knows way more about that than
Than
you
you do.
that just
Yeah.
Right.
purchased, which kind of is like a really weird feeling situation because I pride myself on like being very competent in the stuff that I do. So it was a big step for me to like venture out into something like very different, but at least I know a little bit about the construction industry. I knew a little bit about the clients we're working with and stuff like that. So it wasn't completely foreign, but I'm completely foreign to the trucks. So
Right.
I've learned so much about that stuff.
There ain't much to them, man. They're
Yeah,
pretty simple.
yeah, right.
Once you figure out the basics, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, it's funny
Yeah.
you say that because I had a similar instance with that last night and today. My office manager's gone, and she's been with us I think 3 years now.
Okay.
Maybe. And while I've implemented certain systems in the business, I don't manage the systems.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
hey, this is how I want things done. And she's been gone since Tuesday. And today, it's Friday. We're looking over all the numbers
Yeah.
and everything. And I'm like, shit, I kind of forgot how I do it.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
and kind of like you, like I knew enough about it that I
Yeah.
was like, well, I felt confident going into it. But then, like today I was like, oh man, and we're having a level 10 meeting and my brother looks, he's like, it's kind of weird when you don't wear that hat anymore.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I don't wear this hat. Like it's so new. I was like, but it's not. Cause like
Yeah.
I know what I should be doing.
Yeah.
But I don't really know how she does that process because
Yeah.
she's so much better at it than I am.
Right.
And it's like, well, I don't hate that, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely in that moment where it's like, man, I can't wait till she's back.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
100%.
They're great at their job, and that's awesome. you
My
know?
my driver, the full-time driver, has been on vacation this week, so I've been running dumpsters all week, and I'm like,
That's why it's been at your
man.
house.
Yeah. Did you
I've
see
seen it.
I see
There.
Yeah.
We live in the same neighborhood. We're
Yeah.
4 doors
Oh.
down.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
nice.
5,
For
7,
sure.
something like that. Whatever.
Yep. So I've had there a couple of days this week, so I'm like, I gotta run home and do something real quick in between
Right.
the next jobs.
Or like I gotta go jump something off first thing in the morning. Man, I don't want to go back to the shop. I'll just drive home tonight
Yeah,
with
yeah.
it ready to go, so I get that extra 30 minutes of sleep
Yeah,
or whatever.
I'm just,
Work.
I'm just waiting for my HOA ticket. You know,
Oh yeah,
Is it a semi?
it's not too. It's like a F650. So
Oh,
not
okay.
not a
Yeah.
semi, but
It's not.
it's bigger than
Bigger
everything
than a
else in the
regular truck.
neighborhood
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
sitting there.
Bigger than
you
the
know?
HOA
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right
awesome.
on the edge of a
So
semi.
17,
Yeah.
17.5 GVW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's the best thing that's happened so far this year?
In general, like okay, from the January to right now,
Yeah.
Business or personal.
man, business or personal. We took a mission trip to Uganda.
Oh,
Man,
I
that's
saw that.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the best thing that's happened. Yeah, it's been really cool. It was,
You said we.
yeah, my wife and I.
Who's we? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So with our church has been building churches in Kenya for a couple years.
That's awesome.
And then a gentleman that goes to our church now is from Uganda, and he's like, "Yo, would you guys be interested in like helping out the area that I'm from, building churches there, supporting some schools?" So they started like supporting schools there. We started to build churches in Uganda, and so they took the first group of like missionaries from our church there last month, I guess it was. And so yeah, we got to go. I've never been to Africa before. It was my first time to Africa, and fun fact is, in Africa, I am technically a white person. They don't consider me black.
Dude,
What?
that's
How does that work?
Yeah, they just kept
he's not
yelling.
dark enough. Do you not pick up on that?
Yeah, I'm not dark enough. So
He's
they're
white.
Like, you're not a black person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
They kept yelling Muzungu, Muzungu. I'm like looking around.
There's
I'm like,
levels to this
yes,
shit, I guess.
You. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Dude, I love that because you like stand up and you have to introduce yourself and start like networking and
Yeah.
stuff. And sometimes like a certain fun fact or something you
Yeah.
don't know about
for
me.
sure.
Dude,
I came straight back to my
totally good
networking
one.
group and told them, I was like, in this week, I was called a white person.
I am a
Dude,
white person.
that
The
is
first time it's ever
awesome.
happened in my life. So
You're like discrimination.
yeah,
Just go
exactly.
fucked.
It's backwards.
Do I feel offended right
Yeah,
now? I
yeah.
don't know if I
Yeah.
should or shouldn't.
Like Africa offended me.
That's
How
awesome.
dare
Yeah.
you?
Dude,
You know, because you
that's
come back
great
here and you
good
say some
news.
shit like that, they'll be like, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I identify
That's
as
great
whatever
good
I want.
news.
Yeah. So
love
that's fun.
that.
That's the best thing that happened. We enjoyed it, loved it. Beautiful
So
country.
the best thing that
How long
happens
were you
getting
there?
called white.
Yeah, exactly, man. First time in my life. You got 32 years old. I'm getting new experiences every month.
Every day I
Yeah.
learn a little bit more.
Yeah,
Right,
for sure. So,
Dude, that's awesome.
yeah,
Honestly.
got to see the schools that like the church supports and stuff like that. And what's crazy, $100 a month supports a teacher over there like full time. Like,
That's so crazy.
And that's like their pay. That's really good pay. That's like on par with like the top teacher's salary, like in Uganda. Takes care of some of the taxes and transfers money and like a little bit extra for like bonus later on.
Man, that kind of shows you
Wow.
how inflated the dollar is here in the
Yeah.
States.
Oh, dude, it is inflated.
I mean, you can't go to Walmart without
Yeah.
$200.
But
Yeah.
as a business
It's
owner,
crazy.
As a business owner, you understand where the inflation comes from, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand it all, but man,
Like the
it's-
margins are already so tight
Yeah.
as it is.
all I'm saying is like proportionally how
Oh,
much
yeah,
a dollar goes here
Yeah.
versus anywhere else in the world.
Right.
It's crazy.
You know what I thought about was the other day is one industry controls every industry.
Housing.
Oil and gas.
You think so?
It controls every
housing's
industry
pretty
because
far up
it is a
there.
primary resource for transportation across the planet, whether it's a boat, whether it's a train, whether it's a vehicle, right? So
I don't know,
transporting
bro.
any
I don't
goods
know.
for
Lamborghinis be-
transporting any goods for any industry,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
With all of my experience in the oil and gas, I'm going to say no on that.
I'm going to say my Lamborghinis don't need gas.
Yeah.
So let's say it's a majority factor.
It is. Well, there's a lot of majority factor.
It's one of the
but-
few, I think, one of the few industries that is a majority factor in how the rest of the world functions in any industry.
Right, but I don't.
I've got to
give it
put housing up
too.
there.
Housing's
I'm,
right up
I'm
there,
a
dude.
housing guy.
But even
it's-
then-
look, think about when the
But
interest
even
rates
then,
drop for that.
your
But
cost of
agriculture is
lumber
right
will
up there,
depend
too.
on how much it costs to run the machines, which is determined on gas.
Yeah, but
So-
the demand for
But
that
it's also-
lumber
yeah.
comes
Yep.
from
the
the
housing.
people needing
Housing.
it to do
Yep.
something.
too.
I agree
That's
with that. And then also, I would have to put
let's just
ag
say
in
they
there.
work together.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
I think
is.
it's a
There's no
pie
one,
that needs
right.
some stuff. You know?
It is
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Saying
agree.
it's the only one is a very bold statement.
I may have
I
stirred
wouldn't
the
put that
pot
on the
a little
internet.
But
a little bit.
we can clip it.
We clip it. It'd be all right. It'd be a video.
Help him out and clip that for him, okay?
No,
Devin's like, Mark.
yeah.
I didn't do that on purpose. No, I was almost serious.
don't worry, guys. I pushed the button.
But, like,
yeah,
it's a
I get
big
that.
weighing factor, you know. And I was
it
like,
is.
what
But
industry
that's
if you got
because-
into that you could nearly control any other industry?
But can
But
I
why?
put something into very, very clear perspective that we all experienced very recently? Essential business or not? Those are the controlling factors of the world.
I could tell you the oil and gas industry was essential.
Yeah.
The real estate industry was essential.
Energy.
But the oil and gas industry is only
Manufacturing.
as big as it is because everything goes back to the dollar.
Right.
It's backed by the petrol. That's just why it's called the petrodollar.
Right.
I mean,
But-
that's why it's the biggest
right.
industry in the
But I
US.
think going back to, you can't put it on one, right?
No.
There
Yeah.
was a series of industries that were considered essential. And that I think comes down to the essential living, like just plain and simple. Without those,
Just your day-to-day, I have to
agriculture
have
was
this
essential.
Silas, we just went down a huge rabbit
I
hole.
love it.
I'm so sorry.
I love it because I think about it. I'm not, the city that comes to mind is New York to me. Is like, I mean, the subways, but they had to get everything in, of course, via oil and gas to build these. And so maybe it's one of those things too, where it's like that, maybe those like main industries like change over time, like
Oh, absolutely.
during the build phase, of course, like that was everything. And then like maybe now it's sustainable without as much of it. I don't know.
Right.
Where have you failed this year?
Oh, dude, I failed a couple things, man. Like, I'm in like a really big, I feel like growth phase right now, and I think the more you push, the more opportunity for failure there is that comes about. And I feel like honestly, it's crazy we're having this today. I think one of the biggest failures I've ever experienced like happened today, like before this, and it's just been like a really interesting day for me. So like we purchased Bison, and then we knew that we need to grow. We have 15-yard dumpsters. A lot of the industry wants 30-yard dumpsters. I mean, house flippers, everyone could really use 30-yard
Especially any
dumpsters.
construction.
any
does. Yeah.
commercial
If
construction.
you do a bathroom remodel,
Yeah.
15 could work.
Yeah,
It's a very good point.
yeah.
So
When I flip a house myself, this last house I probably did 6 15-yard dumpsters. So like economies of scale. Like you drop off one, get double the amount of
Right.
waste from it. So
6 turns to 3.
yeah, exactly. And only 6 trips instead of 12
Yeah.
on the cost of your labor. So
Then you start to do math and logistics.
Exactly. So knowing that we needed to grow to that, a situation arose where I got 50 dumpsters on a contract to grow Bison. 1730s. It was like I think it was 15, 25, 17, 20s, and then like another set of 15s. So going to be like a great move. This was 2 months ago. Working through the SBA process again, like just kind of grinding it out. Finding the trucks, going back to the truck thing, it's so hard. There's so many pieces. It's like this hook, it's these axles, it's how many axles.
they're
it's
built
like,
to spec.
they're-
We
Yeah.
get it.
Man,
We
yeah,
get it.
They
Yeah.
are so
Built
specific.
to spec.
And it's
literally.
like, so time after time, I'd find a truck, and I'd send it to my like banking company, and then like before underwriting gets complete, that truck is gone. And so it's
crazy
like,
quick.
oh my gosh. So I've
Because they
done
don't
this,
come for sale very
done this.
often.
Yeah,
For what you actually need.
Exactly. And for like, I'm looking at a used one because all in together in this, we're looking at like another $380,000 worth of stuff.
Equipment is not cheap.
That's
Yeah.
where capital comes into play,
Yeah.
and not funding.
Yeah.
So if you had your own
Yeah.
own deep pockets,
Yeah.
then you could just go out and write a check.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through the whole
Exactly.
process. That's
Yeah.
another like general business struggle across
That's
the
not
board.
Yeah.
a mainstream kind of thing.
Where they go back to the same
I
cash
don't know a
is
whole
king.
lot of people got 400 grand laying around to go put
Yeah.
on something.
Yeah, I know.
So I went SBA again. It worked out fine that first time. But man, the stuff just wasn't lining up super well. And today when I woke up, I realized this is the last day of our contract period. And so I had to make a decision, like, do we move forward with this? And like, I just feel like I've been like hitting so many walls and just like grinding out. Like I'll find a roadblock and then I'll figure out a way around it, and I'll figure out a way around it, and I'll figure out a way around it. And then today, like just so many pieces like kind of fell at the same time that I was just like, you know what, I think I've got to end this contract. Like, because if I didn't end today, this bank, because I'm buying this stuff from a person that is, the bank's kind of like basically fire selling it from someone else. And so I just got the message walking in here. Actually, they wanted me to either give another $9,000 after I already have $20,000 with them. So to extend for another month, like another $9,000, or like if I need to put in a cancellation today to make sure I got my deposit back of $20,000.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like sitting there just like on edge, notching my stomach all day of just like, man, how, what do I do? Like, it's an absolute massive play to move up to these dumpsters, but it's a massive risk also. It's like, I feel like I was at a 50-50 line where it's like, this is either going to be really, really, really good, like crazy good, or this is going to be like really, really bad, like detrimental to like family's lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just came to that decision that like, it's not worth the downside risk for the upside like potential
Option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like that's probably I say probably my biggest failure today, like literally happened today.
But we were talking
And it's
about
like-
too. I don't think it's a failure.
Yeah.
I think it's a learning experience.
Yeah. It is. But I mean everything could be looked at as a learning experience. So if we're
True,
doing
true.
realm of failure, that is
Right.
To date,
an
where you
unsuccessful
failed on a contract.
an
Yeah.
unsuccessful venture that I had.
Right.
Before that, I mean, I had to back out of a house this year that I've never backed out of contract that I was under contract on, but stuff just kept coming up on it. Like, just like,
And did that have anything to do with bison?
I mean,
And I don't
if
mean
wasn't-
like necessarily
if
exactly,
if,
but
if I wasn't buying bison, I probably could have taken more risk
That's
by
exactly what
pulling
I
that
meant.
in.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But
Okay.
because I took on bison, like you said, capital is not as much capital as I had before.
Right.
Like just realistic. I'm not out here just crazy balling. So it's like, like in this growth phase, you're spending money. Like and
It takes money
and
to make
as you
money.
guys know, you guys all do some type of house stuff. Like you could get to the end of a house and be on the market to sell, and there could still be $8,000 of stuff that comes up
Yeah.
to fix.
I
or
need this
change or
punch list
repair or
done
that,
before it's gone.
For example, one of the last houses I had, sometime during the like construction process, the electrical panel cover was thrown away, and they could not find a cover for this anywhere, and it would not pass inspections without the cover.
Did they check the neighbor's house?
No,
That's what I
might
want.
have had
That's
it.
what it was,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
So then you just think of that, like that was like $600, I think it ended up being. Like
yeah, because you can't just buy a cover, can you?
No, you got to buy a whole new panel.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so
And
you're
then
like,
have to have it put in,
you're
inspected,
like,
and
again,
certified.
Yeah. So then that could lead to more utilities, another month of like interest payment. Like right there, that could be like $7,000. So
Just like
so
that.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like that property I didn't take down, and I had to back out because the risk grew as I was learning more about it. It was in a historical district, and all the cost of everything was just like piling up
Just
with how
flag,
much it
flag,
would be.
flag,
you know,
flag.
and so it's like, okay, realistically, I cannot take on all of this stuff. I'm a very like calculated risk person, so I will take risk 100%.
But it's got to be worth it.
It's got to be worth it.
Yeah.
And I have to see that there's more likelihood of
Winning.
success than failure.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, because at this age, it's like, I've got a family. Like, it's not just me struggling. If I got to struggle,
Yeah,
I'll struggle, bro. I
met a guy
you
the
know,
other
like-
day.
I won't eat for 2 days. I don't care.
Yeah,
I got
Right,
water.
right.
Boy, your 2-year-old is over
Yeah,
here
you
like
can't be
that.
doing that.
Like it's
So-
not the same.
There's a
And
guy I
I-
met the other day where he is about 3 years in business, and it's just him.
Yeah.
And he's grinding. He's over here bragging about, and I get it too.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I do too. I'm like, I'm up till 1 o'clock in the morning, and
Yeah.
I'm actually getting some shit done.
Yeah.
But like he doesn't have any kids.
Yeah.
No wife.
For sure.
Like no other real
Yeah.
quote unquote responsibilities outside of his business
Yeah.
to help just grind it out and grow. And I'm like, man, if I had that now,
Yeah.
ooh,
Yeah.
I would
sure.
be crushing it. I'd be killing it. But that doesn't mean I regret anything else
Right.
prior to.
Right.
It's just a figuring out the new harmony
Yeah.
for me. So,
Yeah.
So I love that we kind of took that turn because I wanted to ask that. You mentioned, your failures happen to be aspirations that
Yeah.
you decided to back out on.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to ask is, and I think Braden just answered it for all of us, really. But how have you seen that change since becoming a father, becoming a husband, and so on and so forth? Because I agree with you 100%, and I agree with Braden. I know Devin feels the same way, man. When you have the kids, and it's different to have a wife because to some degree it's like, man, babe, you can starve too.
Yeah.
We got
She's
dreams.
cool. Yeah, she doesn't need a
you
whole
know
lot.
what?
She's
And-
cool
and,
too.
And
Yeah.
we talked
Yeah.
about it in the last podcast. Like, dude, that's where the strength comes from, right?
exactly.
So if your woman's like,
Yeah.
it's fine, I'm not hungry. Well, guess
Right.
what? Now you're not hungry either.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you can't be hungry and your woman's not hungry.
Yeah.
Right? But she's being strong for you.
Yeah.
But when you have the kids,
Yeah.
it's a whole different
Yeah,
atmosphere,
whole new
right?
dynamic.
I love
and-
the way he explains this.
And,
Yeah.
and I don't mean that like in a negative way
Yeah.
because you take different calculated risks,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I want to ask because I've noticed this, especially in myself, it's just how that shift has happened. I know when I was, we'll say like 19, 20, you know, I had these aspirations. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm going to be like rich.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like crazy rich.
I'm gonna
right?
be a
Yeah.
millionaire by
Yeah.
the time I'm
Deca
25.
millions.
I'm
Right.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be worth $30 million.
So I had I'm not
I'm
sure if
still
you're familiar
broke.
with the book Traction.
With traction. Yeah.
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 But so I had a same page meeting the other day
Okay.
with my partner, and I told him, I was like, man, you know, whenever he's my brother.
Yeah.
But I told him, I was like, you know, I remember when Dad was still alive. He told me one day that, you know, I was born poor, I'm gonna die poor, and I was like, that ain't gonna happen, Dad. Like
Yeah.
maybe for you, but that ain't gonna happen for me. And I told my brother that, I was like, and when I said that to him, I realized I meant monetary value.
Yeah.
But now that I have kids,
Yeah.
I've been in business for 6 years, been with my wife for 10. I'm like, you know what? I'm the richest man alive.
For sure.
Because like I now get to make breakfast for my kids.
Yeah.
Like any day I want. Really,
Yep.
I can wake up and I wake the kids and they literally tell me, Dad, are you gonna wake me up with the smell of breakfast? Like, damn right I am.
Yeah.
That's
For
right
sure.
I am.
For sure.
And it's like and I literally get to make breakfast and then sorry girls, I'm out the door.
Yeah.
Like I gotta go to work. But
Yeah.
at
But you were
least
there.
But I was
They
there.
saw you.
And they
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
they get to eat the food as I'm leaving and so on and so forth. And it's like and not
It's
only
not
that-
bad for them to see you go out.
Right.
And
No,
Right.
no,
And
yeah.
not only
You
that,
have to
like-
understand,
yeah.
like, this is the real world.
Right.
Yeah.
And I go home for lunch almost every single day.
Yeah.
And it's like, I am the richest man alive. And at the time, I realized I told my dad, like, I'm rich. And I meant that financially.
Yeah.
But, like, I pretty well have hit financial freedom,
Mm-hmm.
man. And it's like, dang, I'm rich.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what? I don't need
Yeah.
real money.
Yeah.
Like, I got. So I'm curious to hear how that's changed,
Yeah,
considering
it's-
you went from
yeah.
real estate to now buying a business to, hey, wanting to take on some pretty big calculated
Yeah.
risk. And
Yeah.
I know we've talked about these in between us, but
Yeah.
but what does that look like? And it sounds like some of those risks, you're like, you know what? Maybe it's not the right risk for my family and for my future.
Yeah, for
What
sure.
is
I
that?
mean, dude, it's changed. A world's different since I had my
And it
first
changes
daughter,
a lot
you know?
and often.
Yeah, it does. And I distinctly remember when I had like a very big like shift in my mind. We had our first daughter Mila, and I had to leave the hospital to go sign on 3 flips I was doing with some partners, and I was just like, man, it's so stupid. Like, why am I doing like?
I feel you.
My daughter's like 2 days old. I'm like, babe, I'll be right back. You know, like I got something important to do.
And she
like,
get it, too.
Important to do.
She
you know?
gets it,
She gets
too.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
but-
understands. Like, and
gets
it's like, so a couple months in, you know, you're up all night with your kids. I've got my AirPods in because I hate screaming. So I'm like listening to like a podcast while I'm like
Motivational
rocking my
something.
baby. Like you
Diary of a
can.
CEO.
Screaming won't kill you.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like I'm like, this is the closest thing to torture without being in prison is like
yeah.
screaming
Dude,
at
I
like
feel you.
4 a.m. So
I feel you. It's
Anyway, I'm
like
listening
that.
to this and I'm listening like to this podcast and I'm just thinking, I thought to myself, man, I've got a family now. I've got a daughter. Like I'm going to grind this thing out so hard for the next 10 years and then I'll be done. And like immediately, as soon as I said that, I was like, that's the dumbest thing, bro. Like at 10 years old, if you step into your child's life 10 years later, there's going to be nothing there. They've already got their own friends, their
That's
own
what I-
life.
that's what I
you
feel.
know? Is that what you feel? Okay.
My son just turned 10 in
Uh-huh.
March.
Okay. And you
And
grinded like
I look
that.
I look
Yeah.
through my photos
Yeah.
and I go, where the fuck is my son?
Yeah.
There's not near enough amount of photos with him
Uh-huh.
as there is with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right, with
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And man.
But is
moving
that
on.
Hey, yeah, that's not bad. That's growth as a man,
yeah.
dude. We immediately. I talked to a homeowner the other day, and man, I gave him some advice that I share around freely, whether people ask for it or not, especially to new dads.
Yeah.
I always tell them that, hey, when the baby gets here, a few months after the baby's here, you're gonna feel like a second-class citizen. Don't take it personal. Your wife doesn't know she's doing it to you. You don't know what's going on. Just relax, breathe. You get through it.
Yeah.
Don't take it personal. And I share that to him, and I say that I bring that all back because you know we're constantly changing, we're constantly evolving, just in general of like All of it, man. I lost track. All of it, just like all of it. Just
Well, no, it's about like that for about a year and a half.
it is
At least,
dude. Longer.
Because the
3 years, 4
hormones
years.
change in your wife after having a kid or a girlfriend or whoever it is.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
They,
Dude,
they
it's
cha-
hard.
They change and they go from you're my focus to they're my focus and you're
Right.
second.
Yeah. Well, I think both of you do though.
We do,
Yeah,
because we
but
focus
in
on
different
work.
ways. So
we
like
focus on work. Dude.
So like your job is to make sure that one, they're provided
provide.
financially,
Right.
that they have
Boom.
food on the table and roof
House
over
over
their
their
head,
head.
Yeah.
which usually involve finances, which
Yeah.
usually involves the grind.
Yeah.
You know, and then their job is to make sure that you guys stay alive.
Yeah.
right? It's
Like,
completely
that
different.
The ability that the
but the
place
goal
that-
is the same.
like,
Right.
Like you may have a better way of saying this. They the wife creates, or the mother creates
Environment?
the environment, and you help sustain it.
Oh,
you give
you
her.
provided the house. She provides the home.
She provides the home.
you
Like,
go.
like
Yeah.
you
Just
give
create-
her,
you
you have
provide
to give her
things.
the opportunity to be able to create.
Yeah.
That's what it was, right?
Right.
It was-
That's pretty
I'm on
much what
that
I was
track.
getting. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting. I mean, it's it's like
But for us, it's hard as men. We get, and what I was getting is, I'm sure you felt it, is, dude, we get right into that
Finger
grind.
time.
Hey, right into the grind. What is it? Like, we got to
Yes,
work,
brother.
right?
Yeah.
We got to
Yeah.
provide. So
And I think it's like it's from long lasting, like, or I guess future perspective on where like you're going to be. You know, like what my concerns are not. I'm not even working for like right now. Like my kids don't need that much. Like
Right.
I bought them like a slide of Facebook Marketplace and they're happy for
Yeah.
like 10 years. They're like, yes, I love this thing. But like what my mind comes to is like, okay, 10 or 15 years from now, like my parents are aging, your parents are aging. Like our kids are going to be in high school and going to college and
You're
sports.
gonna need a car.
So yeah,
You're going to need insurance.
Yes.
You're going to need
and so
college
it's like
fund.
it's if you
wanna do
take that end goal and you work it back in the steps of how do I get there?
It starts now.
It starts right now of like
Yep.
doing the stuff. Like I'm afraid of regretting in a hard time in the future that I didn't like put myself
Why didn't I
into
do that
hard
back
stuff.
Regret
now.
will kill you
24.
faster than anything else.
Yeah.
You know why an old man is bent over?
What was that?
Because he's regretful. He's got,
Yeah.
it's
His
just it's
shoulders
wore
are
him
all
down.
rounded.
All of us are just going to be looking
You
from our
know?
phones. That's why we're going to be bent over.
Yeah,
It's because
right.
the whole.
Okay, so we
50
got to
years
take
of
a quick
this.
break on this,
Okay.
and then we'll get back into the conversation.
yeah.
So these cards, the Diary of a CEO, conversation cards.
Yes.
This
Tell
is
nobody.
This is a part of the new podcast series.
Okay.
Where this is actually a guy out of Europe who ran this podcast, and if you haven't listened to it, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool
I like
guy.
it. I can't remember his name, but
It's on the box.
he's a mixed guy, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He probably would be considered white in
there.
Africa.
Yeah, in Africa. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
this help.
that's cool.
funny. Okay, go ahead.
So these cards have been designed to help empower, stimulate raw, honest, unfiltered conversations, which is pretty much the whole point of the Brews and Business podcast. I see him talking over there in secret. So if you're not watching the YouTube video,
Steve
go to
Bartlett?
YouTube and watch what he's
Stephen
doing.
Bartlett.
Steve Bartlett.
Yeah, Steve Bartlett. Yeah. I believe that's him.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
So
I always know them by like the name of their YouTube channel.
I'll trade
Yeah.
you.
You know,
The Diary
I'll
of
trade
a
you for
CEO.
the top of that.
Okay. Perfect.
You probably don't know me, but from mine, do you?
No.
Yeah, it's okay because it's like
But I'll
4,000 subs.
subscribe now. 4,001.
Thank
So
you.
I drew the card off the top, and all these cards are what people have written and submitted to his podcast and conversations that they have had.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so far these have been pretty valuable
Yeah.
topics.
Yeah, honestly.
If you do not agree with this or do not want to talk
100%
about it,
success rate
we
right
can
now.
move it on.
Yeah,
move
yeah.
on to some other one.
Okay, so I read it and then just answer from there, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want. Okay.
and any one of us can answer depending on how we need to answer.
yeah. Who is the person you'd most like to say sorry to, but haven't?
Why you got to do that? Cylas?
Yeah, you did it to me.
Hey, you can't use your dad as an example.
I won't.
Okay,
I know
good.
I've been getting on
Good
that.
deal.
I
So,
won't.
okay.
Who
I
is the
actually have a
person
completely
you'd
different
most
person.
like to say sorry to but haven't?
I mean, mine immediately goes to my great grandma. Like, she's no longer with us. I think that's probably like most part of it. You know, she passed away. I was probably like 25, and she had a stroke. Was like on hospice at home for quite a while, and like my whole family kind of gathered around and like really like took care of her like super well. But I was just like freshly living in Tulsa, like trauma nurse, having just a wild time, just, you know, just living life. And I wish I would have taken more of that time and like spent time with her. I wish I would have like recorded conversations like this. Like I didn't even listen to podcasts back then, but I just think like how cool it'd be if I could have just like captured all those stories like on a podcast like this. But there's one thing she always wanted to do. She wanted to go to Branson during Christmas and see the lights. Like she just loved that. I mean, she was, she's born like 1921. So this is like some of the stuff like to us we're like, okay, whatever. But to her it's like, this was like the cool thing,
Well, they didn't have all that back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. She saw so much change. I think that's, caveat. But anyway, she, always wanted to go do that. And I could have done that, but I was just like so like self-absorbed at that time that I just didn't like have the wherewithal with myself to be like, this would be a life
I need to do that
changing experience for both of us, And so I'm over here like running around just spending money on stupid stuff. And I look back and be like, dude, $1,000 would have given me like the most incredible memory with my grandma, my great grandma, and like she passed like with me just taking that for granted, and like so I feel like I took my grandma for granted. Like she was such an incredible part of my parents' life growing up. So I think I took that for granted. So like I don't want to just like say sorry to her and like just give her a big hug. Like, like when you're a teenager, she always wants to like hug you and kiss you. And you're like, grandma, like hold up. And then it's like,
and then, like you
then
miss it.
she passes. You're like, dude, I don't even know what I wouldn't give to like,
just squeeze her back.
To squeeze her back and like tell her like, sorry
like
for that.
Absolute bear hug.
Yeah.
Man, I love
That'll
that.
make you cry right there.
Yeah,
Got the
really
Dutch just
dusty
popped
in here.
up
My
in here,
allergies
guys.
are
Bro,
backed
what
up.
are you guys doing in here?
But I want to
These
say
real
something,
plants?
man. That I think about my early 20s, and I think I have to agree with feeling the same way about a lot of things that happened with my family.
Yeah.
Where I would think I was just self-absorbed, just kind of trying to figure it out, doing it on my own. Where I probably missed a lot of times with my families, a lot of really good core memories because just self-absorbed. And I would agree that I think that comes with age, right?
Yeah.
Where you kind of come back and you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
These people weren't so bad.
And
I kind of love these people.
Like, I wouldn't even say I regret it. I would just say I'm sorry.
Right.
It. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'd try not to have too much regret because I think it's just like,
right.
It's just, I think, because I think every single person, I heard this somewhere, I don't know where, but I think every person makes the absolute best decision they can make
At the moment.
at the moment with the data they have, with the experience they have, with the knowledge they have.
Absolutely.
And that's the best that you can do.
That's the best you can do. At that time,
There's nothing else you can do.
I thought I was building like,
And
a
as you get
life
older,
and,
you realize
and I
that.
met my wife here during that time, so it's like, I mean, something came from that,
Right.
It's
you
like,
know?
what do they say? Hindsight is 20/20.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Like, just because you look
it
back
is
at it in the
yeah.
past.
Right.
Yeah,
Anybody
but it's
else?
like so that's I would say sorry there,
Yeah,
not
that's a good
not
one.
regret, but just sorry.
Just
you know?
sorry. Yeah.
Man, that's a good one. Mine would actually, you said not my dad. I think it's probably, a lot of us are probably going to go back to somebody that's passed.
That's why I was trying to push you. away
No,
from
I
that.
got you. But you know what?
I mean,
Actually,
I've known him for like 20 something
Yeah.
years. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not like
no.
a very new relationship between us.
but I actually have another person who I see as a father figure that I would probably say sorry to. And he's my first boss ever, aside from like my family. And he was there when my dad was gone. A lot of times my dad was a trucker and I worked for him forever. And
Okay.
man, he just, I'm not really sure what I would say sorry for. I just feel like he was the guy who believed in me. And to some degree, I feel like I didn't pay enough attention to him.
Yeah.
I'd almost wish to be like, man, I'm sorry.
Like you
and I
owe
wish I
him
would've-
something.
Yeah, like I
just
wish I
little
would have
something,
just,
something.
because he really did make a big impact on me. You know, between like 12 to 18, he was my dad. He was there more than any other man.
Yeah.
And I say every now and again, more, faster, better. It's like that guy would literally walk in, see me struggling, be like, more, faster, better, and then walk away laughing. And like I see that now, I'm like, man, that guy, I would have just said sorry. I'm like, man, I wish I would have listened to you a little bit more. He got me out of enough little binds where I didn't have to go install my pride to my parents. He was there to kind of help me out because I moved out at 16,
Okay.
so he was kind of helping me out there. But I would just say sorry, and I wish I would have been there better for his wife after he passed. It's not my duty.
Yeah.
She had her own
Yeah.
kids and whatnot, but man, he was just a great role model for me. And
That's
and,
cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
That's
I
it.
think there's a lot of people that, I mean, when I think about this, I'm like, there's probably more people we should say sorry to.
Right.
You
right.
know, like, I mean, like, it's like,
Not the regret, like
as I
you
think
said.
about that, you don't regret, but just to show them, like, you care, like,
Thank
hey,
you.
whatever you did during this time period. I get, maybe it's more
Maybe
thank you. I'm
you.
thinking of
Just thank you, like, man.
it's people you want to go back.
Thanks for
to,
taking
like,
the time.
You're apologizing
This part
for
of my
not
life.
being appreciative.
Yeah,
of
at
them
that
what
time.
they've
in
done.
that period
At
of
that
your life.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's where I went with too.
So the question is, who is the person you'd most likely to say sorry to but haven't?
I would say my mom, honestly.
That's good.
Especially after what, like my dad passing when I was younger, and for what she's done for me, my brother, and my sister, and like the way she's raised us since my dad. But like honestly,
It'll
Yeah.
come. It'll come
Yeah.
with time.
that's why I said you couldn't use the dad excuse, because I wanted to use my mom, but like vicariously through my dad.
It'll come with time. It'll come with time.
Oh, trust me, I know.
Yeah. When you guys are all
What about
ready.
you, Braden?
Yeah, let's hear it. This is why this dude needs a mic too.
something-
'Cause I wanna hear
Yes, his
Some-
opinion.
Oh, you know, it wouldn't be that hard for you to plug in a mic over there. Like, we'll let's figure that out.
You should just do like an emoji for you too, like no one actually knows what you look like, but it's just like a talking
you go.
emoji.
Hey,
Or
dude,
that would hit
Avatar.
because
Like a
there'd be the mysterious guy.
You know,
You
Like,
pan
yeah.
over to the camera, but you
Yeah.
only see the back of your computer. That's
That's
it.
great.
You're just like the tech guy.
Yeah,
Hey, I see a threaded sticker
Yeah.
on there.
We'll put you a marshmallow helmet on.
Yeah, dude.
I'll get you one.
You could be famous and not have to go through the life of fame.
Yeah, dude. I get you a marshmallow helmet. We'll get that.
And then you monetize your own shit.
Can you be a burnt marshmallow? Those are my favorite.
So
Ooh, the burnt marshmallow. He might take offense to that, but
So
Those
I
are
would
delicious.
I would say I'm sorry, not in a way that I regret anything. I don't know, not unless I haven't done anything wrong. I would say that I'm sorry because I feel some empathy.
so it goes back to the not saying thank you sort of situation.
I feel empathy for the one of the let's call him a boss for easy terms. He committed suicide on his birthday, left a 1-year-old and a newborn behind. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to my grandma that died by flood, and I'm sorry to my grandpa who died of an aneurysm in his aorta. And, it was the size of a grapefruit,
Wow.
and I'm sorry that he passed that way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I lost my friend to suicide, and there's another person that just recently, we've lost, that was more of a client of ours for about 3 years. Sorry to their family.
Yeah.
A dad of 5 started a business with his wife. No longer here with us.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason I feel so much empathy towards there's a couple that started the business, and I worked primarily with her, and her husband was more or less of the operations behind the scenes, helped her build this up, as from my perception. And I feel so empathetic towards her because lately this just happened. I put myself into her shoes. If I lost my spouse and I'm running this kind of business with this kind of debt, and I don't know how many people she talks to, and I don't know why some people tell me the things that they do, and I'm not trying to put myself in a certain position or whatever. But there's some things over the last couple months that were shared with me, and I'm like, that's really good to know as a business owner. Like I'm curious to know how you go
you're
through
not
the
the
things that
only
you
one.
do, because there's so many people like in all of our positions that love to feel like we are put onto a pedestal. As soon as you are into a business owner position, those who are not a business owner put you into a category of, oh wow, you are this,
Yeah.
you know? And so whenever you speak with someone that all of a sudden now you put from this to this to bring on your level, and you are like what we are today, it's a different kind of experience with that person, because now you've opened up and you've learned that, oh, I see now how you've built this, and the things that you deal with, whether it's 500,000 in revenue or literally 50 million or 75 million. The conversations that I've personally had, and even some of us here at the Brews and Business podcast have had with people who have just started, all the way to have sold $800 million companies. They have very similar, they have these same problems. The only
Everyone's
difference
human.
is 1 and zeros.
Yeah.
And then there's some human issues to that. And it's funny, you and I just talked about 1s and zeros earlier a little bit.
Yeah.
it's literally just more digits. Outside of that, it's the exact same problem.
Yeah.
It's just an understanding of it all.
So
Everybody goes through the same things. It's just
I heard someone say that like humans are either run by like security or desire.
yeah, they're either a carrot or a stick.
yeah.
You know, it's similar, I guess, but you're totally right. So I don't know if there's anybody necessarily that I would necessarily say that
You're
I've
sorry
done
too.
wrong. That, in my opinion, at this point in time, that I've done something wrong towards somebody
Yeah.
to where I've like feel an underlying level of regret. But there's a lot of people that I feel like that there's some level of empathy to where I wonder if there was something that could have been done. You know, and you feel that I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah.
And to some level with some of these experiences to where I do feel like, what if you could have done something different?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know who Gary Vee is?
Yeah.
So like he says he's like the most empathetic person. He always
Yeah.
looks for the empathy in any situation. So I think that kind of like
The world
derives
lacks
question.
that so
Honestly,
much.
like really, really does.
Like, and when I look to hire people, I'm like, do you give a shit?
Yeah.
Do you care? Like that's step
Depends on
one.
what it smells like.
And if you go back to the traction book, people have to they have to want it, they have to get it, and then there's one more.
Want it, get it. I don't.
Oh man, they're-
Believe it? I don't know.
no, but they have to want it.
I haven't read that
They have
one.
to want to come to
Or
work.
at
They have
least
to
listen
want
to
to
it
do
on
their
Audible.
job. They have to
And they have to be
understand and have the
capable.
capacity to be able to do it.
Okay, so
Actually
understand.
did.
And then there's something else. I don't know if it's not desire. It's something else.
So you have to want it, you have to get it, and you have to
You
know
have the
it.
capacity to do it. It's those
Need
three,
it
bro.
or something like that. Oh man, I wish I could have remembered it. But
We just
anyways,
got
that's
them
what I
all,
look
but
at.
we're trying
I'm
to
like,
figure it out.
really,
Five rule, I
really
know
comes
it.
down to one of the core values. Like, do you give a shit?
Yeah.
Like, do you care? Like, do you have some? Because that is what I've noticed in a lot of interviews and a lot of conversations. There's people who they just don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're here.
I mean, I
they're
get
here
that,
because
though.
of some other
Yeah.
level or some other desire, some other intention or whatever it is. And I'm like, I need you to care. You know,
But
do
it's
you
like
care
one of
about
those
your job?
cycle
Do you
loops.
care
It's
about
like
your
they don't
people?
care because they never had empathy maybe
Right.
given to them. So you know, it's like one of those things like chicken or the egg. It's like you never know. Like
It's like just because
They're
Where-
both delicious.
yeah.
That was my answering a voicemail.
Yeah.
Which came first, the chicken or the
Oh,
egg?
yeah, yeah.
And I had that for like 2 or 3 years. And it
You
was
get a lot of good
hilarious.
responses?
And
Dude,
no one had
everybody
any good
who left a
response.
voicemail gave me an answer.
That's
okay,
funny.
okay, what was the consensus?
No, I got about 50-50 both ways. And people would sit there and leave like a 1-2 minute voicemail about like, here's
Over
why
why?
the chicken left.
But this
and
is
here's
why the
egg
chicken's
left.
first.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is why I am right. Let me tell you why I am right.
That's
I
funny.
loved it because it just gave me a reason. It gave me a
conversation
reason to call
breaker.
them back
Yeah.
and be like, "Hey, so you think the egg started first?" And they're like, "Oh, hey."
Yeah.
You know, it's
course
funny
I
you say
did.
that because that's literally so. We're getting our core values hung up in our shop, right? And the ARC Outdoorsman was originally like, we want people to ask, like, what our outdoorsman, like, what do you guys do? And it's like, oh, well, you know, so on and so forth.
ARC, not ARC.
Yeah,
Okay.
ARC
Good.
Outdoorsman.
Because
worries.
I said
You
ARC.
good?
We
You
talked
good?
about rebuilding.
But that's
the-
why he's been trying to rebrand
the
because like
branding,
people call me
put the
ARC,
period.
and it's
Right.
like I'm not
You
ARC.
just need periods.
It don't-
Right, and
You need something.
I know.
That's an
I know.
example
it would
right
only,
there.
It'd only
I
be
know.
like $100 to fix
Hey,
that.
I know.
Don't
but-
worry, it's only money.
But-
You got it.
Yeah, right.
Look at
We
me
just talked
asking him
about
for
that.
more money.
Told you,
talked
Braden,
about that,
just
right?
give Braden more
Yeah,
money.
right.
You'll be all right.
More money. You sound like my wife. No, I'm just
Well,
kidding.
your wife tells you to
How
give
about-
Braden more money.
She does. Well, sometimes she says Braden does a great job that she should get more money.
Congratulations, Braden. Good job.
She says Devin does a great job. She give, you know.
We don't know because Braden or
Yes.
Devin's.
You want money?
Well,
No camera
give,
time.
Give Braden more money for Devin because Devin does a great job.
It don't matter
You know?
about Devin because
Anyways.
It's like the
camera.
banker off of like Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, no one cares
That's what
about
we
the
do.
guy
We
in
just
the
need we
silhouette.
just need a silhouette of him.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
So
That
that way
would
when
be
he's an
kinda cool,
asshole, no
actually.
one cares.
That's true. That's actually not a bad idea.
You could say
But
so
he-
much stuff
but
that everyone
Devin's
else wants to
not.
say.
I love the
You know?
anonymity. So we'll get you a helmet.
Anonymity.
Yeah, I know.
An-
See an
anonymity.
enemy. It gets you messed up
That's
too.
funny.
Shut up. What were we talking about again?
I don't even know.
Okay, so we're back to the who do you want to say sorry to, but I haven't. Did you? You answered. You
Everyone
did you
has,
answer?
including
Yeah,
you.
but we were
But I answered.
but we were sidetracked.
Yes.
What was I talking about? Shit. What were we talking about? I don't even know.
See an enemy.
Okay, so we're coming up.
Enemies.
We're coming up on our time. Okay,
That's what I
so
figured.
let's go ahead and ask our question.
Yep.
Did you get lucky, or are you
Were you
smart?
smart?
with the opportunities that were provided. Were you lucky that the opportunities were there, or were you smart enough to help create those opportunities and take advantage?
I struggle with this same question myself. I don't know. I think there's like two-piece thing. Like I am a man of faith, so I like to think that
There you go.
there's just like some blessings that have happened or opportunities that have been presented that due to other things that I've tried to like equip myself with made that work out. But I don't think I've got this analogy in my head of like my relationship with like God as like an analogy of like a farmer, where I say, God, you've given me like the body, the ability, the mind to work. So I don't think I should just sit there and say like, okay, like I need to be abundance from here, from the couch. So I think, okay, I've got the seed here. I'm going to go out. I'm going to till
and do
the land. I'm going to, plant the seeds. I'm going to care to it. But then I got to sit back and say like, okay, God, can you make this rain? Like, can you make it rain and like produce the sunlight and the water to help this grow? And then when that plant grows, you have to go out and still tend to it and care for it. And it's a long lasting process.
Make sure it doesn't get eaten.
Yes, exactly. Yep. And then at the end of that, you come back and say, I'm thankful for the opportunity you presented with me here. I'm going to come back and do the harvesting and then take that forward. So I think I don't use luck a ton. That just feels like there's just too much chance out there. I think due to free will, I think there's a lot of chance that can happen. I think situations can just be random at times. I don't know. I don't know where exactly every situation, like I'm not going to walk out of here like trip and like, mess up my shoe and be like, dang, God just struck me.
You're ruining my shoes.
Yeah, so I think there's just some chance out there. But I think in like big things in life, I think I like the saying that like the harder you work, the luckier you get. So I don't think that there's many things that like you haven't put some precursors in place to be available for the opportunity. And I think you have to use that like previous knowledge and education to then
help further
that like opportunity. Either way it goes. Like we talked about my biggest failure, like from where I'm at right now, like even some of that stuff previously, like I still think I had to use those like smarts to make a decision that for 60 days I thought was a blessing. And today I think this might not be what I thought it was, and I might not go forward with this, but I don't think it's like, like I think there's some chance, and I think you can take opportunities and make something from it. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good question to just keep pondering. I could probably answer it different every single day. You ask me tomorrow, I'm like, well, now that I rethought about what I said,
so, now that that's out, that led me to here.
So what you could do is take a selfie video, answer the question again tomorrow, next week, in a month, whatever.
See how it progresses.
Tag us, let us share it.
Okay.
So then people can hear about it.
Yeah. I like that idea. I mean,
next one.
As I talk, I like, that's why I like watching Jordan Peterson, is because like as he's talking,
he's processing.
He's still processing more.
It's crazy.
And like,
honestly.
And like, even you'll say him say something and say, or more, or rather, let's say that. So it's like he's still processing everything as he says it. And I'm like, when I read his books, I'm like, I got to just look up this word. Like, I need a dictionary and this book at the same time. Yeah,
really,
for sure. So I think it's like, I think you just process some of this stuff if you're really being mindful of like what you're doing. That
now, is he coming to Tulsa, or has he?
He came a couple weeks back.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks.
Yeah, it was good. We who wrestle with God.
Yes,
the title of the series.
I've been saying, following his podcasts and his.
You watch the Exodus series.
I'm like halfway through it.
Yeah, I haven't finished it either. Babies, but crazy. But I like it. Yeah,
so crazy.
Yeah,
so crazy.
Would you recommend to just get started and dive right in, or be prepared?
I'm a be prepared kind of person.
Okay. Ooh, all right.
Yeah. All right.
You're very rare on that answer.
Really?
Yeah. Over the general answer from it.
Yeah, and that's why I say like I'm like a calculated risk kind of person. Yeah. Like I think there's risk, but I think you can mitigate a lot of it by being prepared. And I'm not saying like the biggest thing for me, the biggest jump I took probably was like flipping houses. That was the first step into something that like I had a lot more on the line. Like being a realtor, you're selling someone else's product. You're selling their house.
Right.
As a nurse before, I just go in and do my job.
Make sure that you're comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Flipping was like, this is the first time I'm taking like a chunk of money. Like I took like $15K, which for me at that time was a lot. I still think
Perspective.
still think it's good.
Still is a lot of money.
I don't care how much money I make. I'm going to be like $100. Like $100.
Bill Gates still spends $5 on McDonald's.
$20 is $20. You know?
I feel you.
So I think, but I spent hours listening to podcasts and reading books. And due to that, you kind of mitigate some of that risk curve that you have. So I think being prepared, I don't think there's any reason really not to be. Like why? Like why just be like, well, I don't know. Especially this day and age, there's so much information every single way you look. We have a computer in our pocket that you could study nonstop every day, all day. AI.
There's more technology in your pocket than when we supposedly
books are so
went to the
cheap.
moon.
Like $5, $10. YouTube, you can learn probably everything you need to know about any industry, YouTube. Yeah, and so it's just like, why not be prepared at this point? Like, why? But I mean, you're gonna have to make a jump at some point. But like, if you're talking about like a jump, being prepared or like not prepared, like you can prepare and like you're not gonna just jump out of a plane. You're gonna prepare with a parachute.
Yeah, but it's got something.
Like,
so when do you make that jump after being prepared?
Yeah.
So at what point do you feel like you are prepared?
Yeah, I mean,
that's the part two of that question.
That's where it's all relative.
Yeah,
because a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, are fuck it, dive right in, go.
Yeah.
Like,
dive on in.
I don't need to know how deep it is. I'm just gonna go
for sure.
Yeah. But then, in my perspective, after 10 years of being in business, and seeing businesses come and go, and I mean, I feel like I'm nearly on Shark Tank because I speak with so many business owners and they have these big aspirations, but then little budget or timeline their expectations are bigger and their aspirations are bigger than what their pocket can handle.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to open up 10 locations or whatever on X, Y, and Z, and this is what I want to do, and then at least half of them don't even do anything about it. Yeah. It's just a wish.
Yeah.
So which comes into a validation issue. But then and sometimes they just get started and then they pressure everyone around them to go, this is what needs to be done. Go, 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 go. And then nobody's prepared enough and they're all they're all scattered. They don't know what to do. They haven't done any research, nothing. So what I said earlier is about how I want to open 5 satellite locations in the next 3 months.
Yeah.
San Diego, Greensboro, North Carolina, Dallas, Oklahoma City, and Omaha, Nebraska. Okay, so how am I going to do that? I'm like, well, I need to look legit, and I need to at least establish something out there. So I get mailing addresses, street addresses on every one of them, get listings set up on all of them, and then I get it on my website. And then after that, I need to figure out what commissions I can provide to somebody to be able to hire on a commission basis to do sales. Yeah. And then once I get them to build a book of business to be able to represent the brand, we do the work.
Yeah.
Somebody is available to be out there. I know somebody in all those spaces. So if I need to travel out there to be able to meet somebody to hire or to be able to meet with a client, I can easily do that and cut costs by staying with somebody that is there.
Yeah.
So I can at least start the foundational work. So that is where I go. Yeah. And a lot of entrepreneurship is getting that excitement and just getting started, because otherwise, if you wait too long trying to be prepared, it's too late, which we've heard a lot of people say too, which I can agree with.
Yeah.
And so sometimes like we get these ideas as entrepreneurs and have nowhere to get and just go.
Yeah.
But then that causes you more failure in the long run than it is if you did your homework, made sure you are legally, accountingly, financially, and whatever else prepared, ready to go before you just jump right in. Make sure you have your bases covered is what I say.
Yeah.
No, I just feel like I'm back in kindergarten with finger time.
What's up, brother? Special teams, special plays. Check Tuesday.
No.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
You guys, sometimes you guys.
5 to 5.
You guys
Let's
just
go.
Do you know what that is?
No.
This guy.
Go ahead.
Finger time? Like back in like kindergarten and preschool.
Yeah, but I didn't know the rest of
question.
it. Yeah. Who's saying other stuff though, right?
He's a streamer. His name is Sketch.
Okay.
And
he talks like Donald Trump a lot, right?
And he goes, "Okay, guys, listen. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay,
It's
And he
gonna
kinda
be great.
It's
I'm
gonna
telling
be
you.
great. And listen, I'm going to wreck you in this Madden game. Okay.
I have not seen this.
And
I'll
he's
look it
like,
up.
He's
he's like,
ridiculous.
listen, special
It's
teams,
one of those. It's one of those
special
streamer
plays,
guys.
Okay.
It doesn't
special
matter.
players.
Like,
Okay.
Tuesday, check Tuesday. Okay, listen.
Ridiculous.
But he's getting recognition by
It'll
the
make you
NFL.
laugh.
Okay.
It definitely makes you laugh.
Where I was getting with it, getting at with it was
My whole dramatic
Sidetrack.
scene there,
Sidetrack.
just there. Okay.
the whole finger time thing. It's about an 80-20 split. So like 80% people call it like just get in and start it. Like 20% call it, hey, be prepared. I mean, one of my uncles, so I've got two uncles, past business with, didn't go well. Not a huge fan of them nowadays. But one of them, his name is Patrick, and he has the 7 P's of Patrick.
Okay.
Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance.
Okay.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Something similar.
You've heard my uncle saying?
I've heard something similar. Oh,
You're
yeah.
telling me he didn't take it off of like the back of a milk carton or something? Like, wow.
It was off a cereal box from 1997.
Yeah, something
All
like
I'm
that.
saying is I wish my name was Patrick
Yeah.
No, you
or
don't.
Peter. I'd have the 7 P's for Peter.
Okay, keep going. I'm
7
sorry.
P's of
No.
Peter would work as well.
Paul?
Paul. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Maybe it's
The
Peter
apostle.
Piper
Go
pickle,
ahead.
pickle peppers.
Anyway,
Maybe that's what I'm
go
thinking
ahead.
about.
Either way, all I'm saying is you fall in a very small category of being prepared, which I think is great, honestly, because
Because like, can't you prepare enough that you're ready for the jump?
90% of me is like all jump,
Yeah.
but 10% of me is like, hey man, if you jump, you could fall and die in like piranha water.
Yeah.
Like think
Don't you
think of
it-
that.
Don't you think it takes a little bit of, and maybe this is just environmental awareness, I think, but it depends on the industry.
Yeah. I think,
I think a lot of-
course.
because that's what
I
I,
mean-
that's what I think when I think about real estate. There's parameters. Like when I
Right.
flipped
Yeah.
my first house, I prepared so much that I had to prepare like a parameter in place, and I'm like,
Right.
it needs to be this many bedrooms, this many bath, this kind of school district.
But you've
with
had
this
that
ratio.
You've had that
Right.
thought process because before you could even flip your first house, you had to go to school. You had to get licensed by the state before you could even. So
Oh,
you
not,
had
not for flipping.
Not for flipping.
No.
Not like.
I mean,
but-
you could do all that without a license, without any schooling.
You
know?
can buy.
I
flip,
did.
So that's where
remodel,
that's
we'll
where I
talk
think the
after the
preparation.
podcast.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what like I think the preparation like in preparation looks different for everyone. Like you
So
go
just
to
more understanding.
like
I like
like
that.
REI meetings. You can go to like real estate investor meetings and learn so much from that.
So if you
like-
were to expedite somebody, let's say I want
Yeah.
to get involved in
Yeah.
flipping real estate.
yeah,
In my mind, I would want to have established relationships with people who could do. Let's say I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it all
Yeah.
by myself.
Yeah.
I'm not going to remodel the house by
Yep.
myself. I need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6 different companies involved. A banker, or some sort of funding.
Mhm. Yeah,
And you have somebody that can do drywall, paint, foundation, electrical, plumbing.
could drop that down to a
HVAC.
GC. Like drop that down to one GC.
But you got to be careful with GCs because
Yeah.
they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah,
So,
So
you,
you
don't
pick
want
a
to
good
just
one. You don't
establish.
pick a crappy
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful on that too. So that
You know
comes
how-
down
you know how
to
you
being
pick a good one?
prepared.
Yeah.
Because
Find a
you
Mexican.
can pick up any GC.
Right.
I mean the GCs
Right.
are a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
but nearly 80% of them are shitholes. You know, they're one person, or they outsource to a bunch of other shitholes that don't get anything done, which they half-ass it and cause you problems.
Yeah.
You have
so-
an
that's
industry
that's
line.
all industries.
Yeah,
they
bro.
have. I mean,
right.
you
So
know,
which comes down to getting prepared.
yeah, for
So
sure.
if you do a little bit of your due diligence
The
and you
jumper
do,
system.
Me and him
So-
are jumpers.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the thing. Me and Abel are jumpers, bro.
So go out and meet with an electrician
Yeah.
and be like,
Yeah.
hey, is it just you or do you have
For
multiple people? And how do you validate yourself? Do you have any accreditations? Do you
Yeah.
have whatever it is? HVAC, plumbing, whatever those categories are to be able to remodel a house
Yeah.
and create a self-sustaining whatever sort of business out of it, right?
Yeah,
That's where I say, don't just go in and be like, oh, I'm going to buy this house and then figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, let me see through
I
the
actually
whole
met with someone
process.
last night that jumped. I'll
And-
tell you that after this.
And let me see what I can do in advance
Yeah.
to make sure that I can make that process
Yeah.
easier instead of just halfway through the house. I'm 30 days into closing. I'm like, oh man, we have
Yeah.
to tear out all the floors to get to the foundation and reset this and redo the roof. I'm like, why didn't I know this ahead of time?
Yeah.
Well, if I knew this ahead of time and if I had the established relationships with the right people, I could just call them and be like, hey Jeff, I'm buying this house. Will you come take a look?
Yeah,
My name is
Bam.
Jeff.
Now I know what I'm getting into because I don't have to know everything.
Right.
And John F. Kennedy said this. This is one of my favorite sayings. John F. Kennedy goes, I don't have to know everything. All I have to do is know who to call.
Yeah.
And I have 100 buttons on my desk, and I could hit any one of them at any point in time and get any answer that I need to at whenever.
Yeah.
Click, hey, I have a question, and be able to make the relationships or connections happen.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. I mean, like I said, I met a kid last night that called me, and he moved here. He's 21.
Can you stop?
No, I can't.
Moved here. He's 21. Bought this place. Hired a GC. Like went way over budget. Paid too much for the house. And now he's 21, and he's like, he needs to get out of it. He's got a family emergency. He's need to go back to Florida. And it's like, I'm like, I don't even know how to help you. Like, I'll try my best, but I don't even know what to do to like help you out of this situation. Like, because there was just so many pieces before this. Like, it probably shouldn't have been that GC. It probably shouldn't have purchased that house at that price, you know, and just, it's just, and now, I mean, he's looking at taking money to close to get out of this. And I'm like, I'll try to figure out, like, I'll list this thing for free if I can just find someone that'll get you, like,
out of it,
you know, and it's just like,
So that's why I say
it's hard.
it's better to be prepared
Yeah.
than just dive right in and get excited.
Yeah.
Because I've done that.
Yeah.
I did that originally.
Industry.
And it's great. Like I learned so much, but what can you learn from somebody who has done what you've done for 10, 20, 30 years, expedite that in 1, 2, or 3 years?
Yeah.
What have they done to experience the just do it?
Yeah. Here's a question for you jumpers. Is what you're doing now the thing you first jumped at?
Nope.
So maybe that was actually preparation.
And
Thank you.
I would agree with that because no,
I agree with both of you.
But listen, no,
Because I've been arguing this for so many podcasts.
listen,
I'm not saying you're wrong.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
And at
Every
all,
person's
I
individual,
would,
so they're going to have to go about it their own way.
100% because I've told everybody I had
So many
multiple other
aspirations.
businesses that have failed fantastically because I've learned something new from every single one.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, those businesses didn't necessarily have anything to do with my industry that I'm in now. But a business is different. The fact that I'm Mexican has nothing to do with that, bro. But it does. Anyways, anyways, I would say yes, it is preparedness because I even think like, hey, preparedness, and I think we can all relate to this, right? Came even at 10, 12, 13 years old, right? Where we had these tendencies like, man, at some point in life, you know, you're a little different. But you just see things a little different, right? You're not going to be that 9-to-5er, and that's okay. But I would agree that is some method of preparedness. But Braden said, I think in the last podcast, all he ever wanted was wisdom, and the only way to get a wisdom is through experience, right? Yeah. So we were learning, getting experience to gain that wisdom to get prepared for what we're in now.
Yeah.
You know, I would definitely say that, no, I never plan on being a landscaper by any means, but I kind of saw a means to an end. I had this idea for financial freedom for my family, no matter what that meant. And dude, opportunity just, was it opportunity? I don't know, because again, it goes down to, I made some choices that kind of put me in place.
Cylas, if there was a 10-year me ago that knew what I knew now, the kind of the level that I would be at now, it would be night and day.
Maybe.
No,
I mean,
no, for sure.
You could have risen all the way to the top
and then fallen
so far. Like I think about this. If I would have, before I had a family, started flipping houses like 22, made great money. I wasn't making great decisions at that time.
Right.
So like I probably would have blown all of it. Like I probably would have been further down now because I was able to like accelerate
would $100,000,
you know, like
accessibility put me in a good spot, or would it put me in like?
I don't even know. Like I just think this goes back to like I don't regret anything. I just think it has to work out. Like it has to work out because
no
it's just
regrets. Not even one letter.
There's a plan.
No regrets.
Yeah.
You know that movie?
Regrets. Yeah.
But that's why we're
just think
jumpers,
that-
man. Like you said, is it a learning
But
experience?
then again, that is where establishing relationships with people who are gas and brakes.
right.
Because I've also said that about my brother, my partner, right? If it wasn't for him, I feel like it would have been all gas, no brakes, straight into a tree or off, out of a corner.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you need that brakes. You need that. You need that.
Yeah.
Just the balance of it
right?
all.
It's balance.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on time.
Yeah.
Cylas, how
Yes.
can we support you?
Man, support. Just hit me up on social media platforms. On Instagram, where I'm most active is at the Realtor Cylas Brooks. I'm super active there. You can also look up Bison Bins, regular spellings of that, BISON, BINS. Hit me up on Facebook, Cylas, CYLES Brooks, BROOKS. Just follow along with that stuff. I stay pretty active there. I show a little bit of flipping. I show a little bit of Bison stuff, retail real estate. Show the family. That's that's the best way. Just keep up and like making connections with good people and just building that network. I love Tulsa because of that. It's like a know a guy kind of city where like everyone wants to.
Yeah, I know a guy.
Everyone wants to like connect people with other good people.
Everybody
And
wants to
so-
be that. I know that
Yeah.
guy.
Oh yeah.
I know a
Like,
guy.
Someone
I know
hop
a
on
guy
there and say,
guy.
"I need someone." Like, I'm like, dude, I got
Everybody.
you.
Bro,
I know
Right.
someone
I got the
there.
contact
great-
right now.
it's a
Send it to you.
great-
Call
community.
my person.
Call my
Like,
guy.
and tell them I sent you.
You need a guy?
You know,
I got a guy. You need a guy? I got a guy.
And okay, so this is a perfect example. Not to take away from his, but
And I'll chime in with what you're doing. I like what you're doing on your social media where you're like, hey, you need somebody, blah, blah, blah. You do that routine thing,
Yeah.
keep doing it.
Thank you.
like
Thank
that. But I want to go to the Tulsa thing,
Yeah.
because you said support you and so on and so forth. In following that in the local, like Braden just said, funny thing happened with that. I just found out I had a friend showcase a house that they had just finished that he happened to get this referral from a couple other friends, and I was like, hey, good job, guys. Turns out they called us to do a repair on that same job.
Wow.
I had no idea that it happened, but it goes down to, like you said, the relationships, right? There's certain things that just sometimes especially in Tulsa, knowing the right people just happens.
It's
dude.
small.
It's great.
You
It's
mess
great.
up and everyone knows.
Man, even Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But
itself is
you own
small.
up to it, and everybody knows
Yeah,
too, and that
exactly.
automatically, boom, business is great because of
Yeah.
that.
I went to New York
Uh-huh.
and I met a guy that graduated from Jinx
Okay.
a year before I did, working at the same agency.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Small world
Yeah.
In New York.
in New York.
Yeah.
Live
wild.
from no.
Live from New York, it's Chance. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Anyways, Cylas, thank you for
Yes.
joining us.
Absolutely.
on the
Thanks for
Brews and
having me. I
Business
enjoyed
Podcast.
it. Enjoyed it. It's great. It's a good conversation.
Let us know what you think about today's podcast. Leave a review, like, comment, share. Yeah, he's pointing right here. So if we happen to do an edit, it's right there.
It's
wherever
down in this
wherever
area.
this would be in this area. Yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know what you think about today's podcast. If there's anybody else or any other industries, topics that you would like to hear, let us know as well. You can listen on brewsandbiz.com, and all socials, things like that. We have some new merch, like the new notepads, to where you can take some notes about what happened in today's podcast and other podcasts. There's t-shirts. Flex on them. Chance, one more last time.
Dang.
Yeah, I know.
We've got-
Those biceps.
get
though.
that
Pint glasses.
Yep.
He
That's my
said-
favorite.
It took 10 years to become an overnight success in that shirt.
Yeah, this is how it is.
Recovering skinny man.
That's
It's a-
right.
Yeah.
It's a small.
When 4 years ago, I weighed 280 pounds.
Oh
Yeah.
wow! So you're on the way down.
Oh yeah,
You're
we're
not on
down.
the way
We're
up.
down. We're
Okay.
down. We're coming up.
You
though.
strike me as the guy's like small, and then you like worked really.
Oh
hard to
no,
get
I
up.
was
Oh,
very.
Okay.
He was healthy.
I was healthy.
Okay.
I was Oklahoma thick.
Thick.
Oh yeah,
Two C's.
We ate the we ate the Wheaties in the morning. Let me tell you.
Cylas, thank you again for joining us.
Absolutely.
today,
Thanks,
man.
guys. Thanks for having me.
Talk
Appreciate
to you
it.
guys later.
Bye.